Commander Jack Miller sat in his chair aboard the defense platform, drinking cold coffee and watching the stars. It was supposed to be a quiet shift. Nothing ever happened out here at the edge of Earth's solar system. He had spent 3 years on Sentinel-7, and the most exciting thing he had seen was a small asteroid passing by last month. That changed when his screens lit up with warnings. 47 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel just beyond Jupiter's orbit. Jack nearly dropped his coffee cup. His hands moved fast across the controls, trying to get a clear reading. The ships were massive. Each one was bigger than anything humanity had ever built. They were shaped like crescents with glowing edges, and they moved in perfect formation. Jack hit the emergency alert button. Red lights filled the platform. His second officer, Lieutenant Sarah Boyd, ran onto the bridge, still pulling on her uniform jacket. "What's happening?" she asked. "We have visitors," Jack said. "Big ones." The communications panel beeped. Someone was trying to contact them. Jack looked at Sarah, then pressed the accept button. A face appeared on the main screen. It was not human. The creature had 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern, blue-gray skin, and a mouth that moved in strange ways when it spoke. "Attention, primitive species of the third planet," the alien said. Its voice came through a translator that made it sound flat and emotionless. "I am Ambassador Zekthor of the Varneth Empire, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Council. We have come to discuss your immediate future." Jack felt his heart beating fast. This was first contact. Humanity had dreamed about this moment for hundreds of years, but something about the alien's tone made Jack nervous. This did not sound like a friendly visit. "This is Commander Jack Miller of the Earth Defense Platform Sentinel-7, he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "Welcome to our solar system, Ambassador. We're ready to open diplomatic relations." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "This is not a diplomatic visit, Commander. This is a formal notification. The Galactic Council has been observing your species for 50 Earth years. We have seen your violence, your wars, your primitive weapons. We have watched you spread from your planet into your system like a disease. The Council has concluded that humanity poses a potential threat to galactic peace." Jack felt his stomach drop. Sarah's face had gone pale beside him. "Therefore," the alien continued, "the Council orders Earth to surrender all military assets immediately. You will dismantle your weapons. You will accept a planetary governance committee chosen by the Council. You will submit to our authority. You have 72 hours to comply." The screen went dark. The alien had ended the transmission without waiting for a response. Jack sat frozen for a moment. Then he moved fast. "Sarah, get me a direct line to Earth Defense Command. Priority 1. Send all data on those ships to headquarters. Move." Within 10 minutes, Jack was connected to Captain Lisa Hayes at Earth Defense Command in Geneva. She was a tall woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Jack had met her once at a military conference. She had scared him a little. "Commander Miller," Lisa said, "we received your data. The President and military leaders are meeting now. How do the ships look up close?" Scary," Jack said honestly. "They're huge, Captain. Our biggest warship would fit inside one of their smaller vessels. And they have 47 of them." "We counted," Lisa replied. Her face showed no fear, only cold calculation. "Keep watching them. Report any movement. Haze out." The next 3 hours were chaos. Earth's military bases went on full alert. News networks got hold of the story, and panic spread across the planet. People flooded stores, buying food and supplies. Some religious groups declared it the end times. Governments tried to maintain order while their leaders argued about what to do. In Geneva, Lisa stood in a room full of screens and stressed officers. The emergency meeting had been going for 2 hours, and they were getting nowhere. Some leaders wanted to surrender. Others wanted to fight. Most seemed frozen with fear. "We can't fight them," the French general said. "Look at their ships. We'd be destroyed. If we surrender, we lose everything." The American admiral argued back. "They'll control Earth. Our children will grow up as slaves. Better alive as slaves than dead as heroes, someone else replied. Lisa watched the argument continue and felt frustrated. Then Admiral Dan Cooper walked into the room. He was an older man, with gray hair and a calm face. He had been quiet during most of the meeting, just listening. Now he carried a black folder marked with the highest security classification. "Excuse me," Dan said quietly. The room kept arguing. He raised his voice. "Excuse me." "Ah." Everyone stopped and looked at him. "I think we need to talk about what Earth actually has," Dan said. He opened the folder and pulled out papers. "What the Galactic Council thinks they know about us is wrong. Very wrong." He placed photos on the table. They showed ships that looked nothing like Earth's public space fleet. They showed weapons that no news network had ever filmed. They showed facilities that officially did not exist. For the past 30 years, Dan explained, while the world watched our regular space program, some of us have been working on something else, something the Council never detected. I think it's time we showed everyone what we've really been building. Lisa leaned forward, looking at the photos. A slow smile spread across her face. Around the table, expressions changed from fear to surprise to something else. Hope, maybe, or determination. "How many of these ships do we have?" the Chinese admiral asked, pointing at one photo. "Enough," Dan replied. "The question isn't whether we can fight, the question is whether we should." "They gave us an ultimatum," Lisa said. "They came into our home and told us to surrender. They didn't ask. They didn't negotiate. They ordered." She looked around the room. "I don't know about anyone else, but I don't take orders from people who just showed up and threatened my planet." Nods went around the table. The fear was disappearing, replaced by anger. Humans did not like being threatened. "Show us everything," the president said to Dan. "Every ship, every weapon, every secret project. If we're going to give the Council an answer, I want to know exactly what cards we're holding." Dan smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Yes, sir. You're going to like this." Up on Sentinel-7, Jack watched the alien fleet. They sat in formation, waiting for Earth's surrender. They looked confident, powerful, unbeatable. Jack thought about the panic on Earth. He thought about his family in California, probably scared right now. Then he thought about the tone in Captain Hayes's voice during their call. She had not sounded scared at all. "Sir," Sarah said beside him, "the Council ships are broadcasting to Earth. They're showing what happened to other species that refused their orders. They're trying to scare everyone. Also, the Rectizide," Jack nodded slowly. "Let them try," he said. He did not know exactly what Earth had hidden in secret bases, but he knew his species. Humans did not surrender easily. Humanity had fought each other for thousands of years. They were good at war, maybe too good. The clock counted down. 72 hours until the deadline. Jack wondered what answer Earth would give. Somehow, he did not think the Council was going to like it. The transport shuttle cut through space toward Mars, carrying Lisa Hayes and 3 other military officials. They had been in meetings for 18 hours straight, learning about projects that most governments did not even know existed. Now Admiral Dan Cooper was taking them to see the truth with their own eyes. Lisa pressed her face against the window as Mars grew larger. She had been to the Red Planet twice before, visiting the official colonies and research stations. But they were not going to any place she recognized. The shuttle dropped low over a crater that maps listed as empty wasteland. Then a massive door opened in the crater floor. The shuttle descended into darkness. Lights flickered on, revealing a cavern so large that Lisa could not see the far wall. And inside that cavern sat dozens of ships. They were beautiful and deadly. Sleek black hulls with lines that looked more like art than engineering. No clunky external weapons. No obvious engines. Nothing like the boxy military ships Earth showed in public photos. "Welcome to Facility 7, Dan said as the shuttle landed. One of 12 locations like this across the solar system. Well, they walked onto the hangar floor. Technicians in clean suits moved between the ships, running checks and loading supplies. Everything moved with quiet purpose. This was not a research project. This was a military base ready for war. Commander Ryan Blake met them at the base of the nearest ship. He was young, maybe 30, with the confident walk of a pilot who loved his job. "Admiral Cooper, Captain Hayes, welcome. Would you like the full tour or the quick version?" "Quick," Lisa said. "We have 48 hours left." Ryan nodded and led them up a ramp into the ship. The interior was cramped but efficient. Every surface had a purpose. The cockpit sat 2 people in seats that looked more like fighter jets than spacecraft. "This is a Falcon-class interceptor," Ryan explained. "We built her 3 years ago. She uses quantum displacement drive technology. We don't move through space in the normal way. We fold space and step through it. Travel time from Earth to Mars is about 4 minutes. Earth to Jupiter is 11 minutes. Lisa stared at him. "That's impossible. We don't have that technology." "We didn't," Ryan agreed. "Not until Dr. Kate Morrison figured it out." He pressed a button, and a screen showed a woman in her 50s with messy brown hair and glasses. She was working on theoretical physics 30 years ago, just playing with math, seeing what was possible. She found something. The screen showed equations that made Lisa's head hurt just looking at them. "The Council's science went down one path," Ryan continued. "They focused on pushing through space faster and faster. Dr. Morrison found a different path. She learned to manipulate the quantum field itself. We don't push, we step." "What about weapons?" one of the other officers asked. Ryan smiled. "That's the fun part. Follow me." They went to the weapons bay. Ryan picked up what looked like a small metal rod, barely a foot long. "The Council uses energy weapons. Plasma, lasers, particle beams. They're powerful but predictable. We went a different direction." He placed the rod in a launch tube. "This is a kinetic penetrator, basically a fancy dart. The ship accelerates it to 98% of light speed using magnetic fields. At that velocity, it hits with more force than a nuclear bomb. And because it's just metal moving fast, most shield systems don't even see it coming." Lisa picked up another rod, feeling its weight. It was just metal. Simple. Basic. Old technology made incredibly dangerous with new science. "How many can you carry?" "Each Falcon carries 200 penetrators," Ryan said. "We have 83 Falcons ready to fly, plus larger ships with bigger weapons. The Council thinks we're primitive because we still use kinetic weapons and nuclear technology. They stopped researching those things thousands of years ago. That was their mistake." Back at the hangar floor, Dan led them to another area where scientists worked at computer stations. A man in his 40s with tired eyes looked up from his work. "Admiral Cooper, are we showing them the good stuff?" "Everything, Dr. Greg Patterson," Dan replied. "Greg here runs our nuclear research division. Nuclear weapons are outdated," one of the officers said. Greg laughed. "That's what everyone thinks. That's what we wanted everyone to think." He pulled up images on a large screen. "The Council knows about atomic bombs and hydrogen bombs. Basic fission and fusion. What they don't know is that we kept going. We learned to manipulate the strong nuclear force and the weak nuclear force in ways they said were impossible." The screen showed test results. "We have weapons that can cause a chain reaction in specific elements. We have devices that can disrupt atomic bonds from a distance. We have warheads that create temporary changes in how physics works in a small area." Greg's eyes gleamed with pride. The Council stopped exploring nuclear technology 2,000 years ago because they thought they knew everything. We're about to teach them different. Lisa felt a strange mix of fear and pride. Her species had built nightmare weapons while hiding them from the galaxy. "How did we keep this secret?" "Compartmentalization," Dan explained. "Different teams working on different parts. Most scientists didn't know what they were building. We spread the facilities across the solar system. We hid them inside ordinary colonies and mining operations. The Council was watching Earth, so we did the real work on Mars, the Moon, the asteroid belt, even some of Jupiter's moons." They spent the next hour touring Facility 7. Lisa saw training rooms where pilots practiced in simulators. She saw weapon testing ranges carved into Mars's crust. She saw computers running battle scenarios against enemies that moved and fought like the Council ships waiting near Jupiter. Finally, they gathered in a conference room with a view of the hangar. Dan brought up a star map showing the solar system. Red dots marked the Council fleet. Blue dots marked Earth's hidden forces. There were a lot more blue dots than Lisa expected. "We have 147 combat-ready ships," Dan said. "Another 93 that could fight if needed, but aren't fully tested. We have weapons platforms hidden in the asteroid belt, on Earth's moon, and in orbit around several planets. We have the planetary defense grid that Amy Chen's team built, disguised as commercial satellites." "Amy Chen?" Lisa asked. Dan pressed a button, and a video call connected. A young woman with black hair appeared on screen. She sat in what looked like a control center on Earth. "Captain Hayes. Good to meet you. I'm Amy Chen, Chief Engineer for the Planetary Defense Network. Tell them what you told me," Dan said. Amy nodded. "For 20 years, Earth has been launching satellites, weather monitoring, communications, GPS, scientific research. The Council watched us do it and thought nothing of it. What they didn't know is that 60% of those satellites have dual purposes. Right now, we have 14,000 satellites in orbit around Earth. 9,000 of them are armed." "Armed with what?" Lisa asked. "Lasers mostly. Point defense systems. Nothing that could destroy a capital ship, but enough to shoot down smaller craft or missiles. More importantly, they form a network. Every satellite talks to every other satellite. They share data instantly. If the Council attacks Earth, they won't be fighting individual targets. They'll be fighting one giant coordinated system." Lisa shook her head in amazement. "The Council has no idea what they're dealing with." "That's the plan," Dan said. "They think they're bullying a primitive species. They've done this hundreds of times before. Show up, make threats. Watch the new species panic and surrender. It's worked for 10,000 years. He smiled coldly. "It's not going to work this time." "Why did we build all this?" one of the other officers asked. "We didn't know about the Council until 3 days ago." Dan's smile faded. "We built it because we knew someone was out there. We've been listening to space for over a century. Sometimes we heard things. Signals we couldn't explain. Ships we couldn't identify passing through the outer system. We knew we weren't alone. We just didn't know if our neighbors would be friendly or hostile. So we prepared for the worst. And now the worst is here," Lisa said quietly. "Maybe," Dan replied. "Or maybe we're the worst thing the Council has encountered in a long time. Humanity has been fighting wars for our entire history. We're good at it. We innovate. We adapt. We never give up. The Council has been at peace for thousands of years. They've forgotten how to really fight." Lisa looked at the ships in the hangar below. She thought about the weapons hidden across the solar system. She thought about the Council fleet, sitting confidently near Jupiter, waiting for Earth's surrender. "What's our answer going to be?" she asked. Dan looked at her with eyes that had seen too many wars. "What do you think it should be?" Lisa thought about the alien ambassador's tone, arrogant, dismissive, speaking to humanity like they were children who needed to be disciplined. She thought about Earth's history. All the times someone thought they could conquer and control humans. All the times they were proven wrong. "I think," Lisa said slowly, "we should teach the Council a lesson about underestimating humanity." Dan nodded. "Good. Let's go tell the President. We have 36 hours to get ready." He looked around at the others. "Get some rest. When the Council gets our answer, everything changes. This will either be our finest hour or our last one." As they boarded the shuttle back to Earth, Lisa looked one more time at the hidden fleet. Somewhere in her heart, she felt something shift. Fear turning into determination. This was not about winning or losing anymore. This was about showing the galaxy that humanity would not bow. Whatever happened next, the universe was about to learn what humans were really made of, and Lisa suspected the lesson would not be gentle. Ambassador Zekthor sat in his command chamber, aboard the Eternal Harmony, surrounded by holographic displays showing Earth and its primitive civilization. He had performed this duty 43 times before during his career. The pattern never changed: shock, fear, desperate attempts at negotiation, and finally surrender. Humanity would be no different. The 72-hour deadline was approaching. Around him, the other council members waited with bored confidence. General Thakris of the Krolon hegemony examined his claws, looking annoyed at the delay. Councillor Myrix of the Sentinel Collective calculated statistics on human population centers, probably deciding which city to destroy first as an example. They will surrender, Zekthor said calmly. They always do. These humans have nowhere to run, no weapons that can threaten us, and no allies. Logic demands they submit. Their broadcasts suggest panic across their planet, Myrix observed. Good. Fear makes the transition easier. Broken spirits rebuild stronger under council guidance. The timer reached 0. Zekthor activated the communication system, ready to receive Earth's formal surrender. Instead, a human face appeared on the display. The same commander from the defense platform, Jack Miller. But something was different. The human was smiling. Ambassador Zekthor, Jack said pleasantly. Thank you for your patience. Earth's leadership has carefully considered your generous offer. Good, Zekthor replied. Transmit your surrender terms, and we will begin the transition process. Jack's smile grew wider. Oh, we're not surrendering. I'm afraid the answer is no. We appreciate you coming all this way, really, but we're going to have to ask you to leave our system. You have 24 hours. Silence filled the command chamber. Zekthor's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, unsure if his translator had malfunctioned. Around him, the other council members stirred in confusion. Commander Miller, Zekthor said slowly. Perhaps you misunderstand the situation. We have 47 warships. You have nothing that can oppose us. This is not a negotiation. It is a fact. Funny, Jack replied. We looked at the facts too, came to a different conclusion. He leaned back in his chair, still smiling. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to turn those pretty ships around and leave. If you're not gone in 24 hours, we'll make you leave. Fair warning. General Thakris stepped forward, his massive form filling the display. Primitive fool. We have conquered 600 worlds. We have weapons that could burn your planet to glass. You dare threaten the council? Jack actually laughed. Yeah, we dare. Look, I'm just the messenger. But between you and me, General, I've seen what we've got hidden away. I'd leave if I were you. This is unacceptable, Zekthor said, his voice rising. Humanity will learn respect. We will demonstrate what happens to species who defy the council. Good luck with that, Jack said. Then he ended the transmission. The command chamber erupted in outrage. Council members shouted in a dozen languages. Zekthor felt his blood pressure rising. This had never happened. Never. 10,000 years of council authority, and some primitive species dared to refuse. We must respond with force, Thakris snarled. Immediately. Destroy one of their military installations. Show them the price of defiance. Agreed, Myrix said. I recommend targeting their facility on the 4th planet, Mars. Our sensors detected military activity there. Burn it, and they will understand. Zekthor considered for a moment. He did not like deviating from protocol, but the Council's authority could not be questioned. If humanity would not submit peacefully, they would submit in chains. Very well. Send the 3rd strike wing. 3 ships should be sufficient. Destroy the military targets on Mars. Avoid civilian casualties if possible. We want them frightened, not enraged. 3 Council warships broke formation and accelerated toward Mars. Zekthor watched on his displays, satisfied that order would soon be restored. On Mars, inside Facility 7, alarms screamed. Commander Ryan Blake ran to his fighter, pulling on his helmet as he moved. Around him, other pilots did the same. The hidden doors in the crater floor opened. Falcons rose from the hangar, their quantum drives powering up. 3 council ships incoming, the tactical officer reported. They're heading straight for us. Weapons charging. Captain Lisa Hayes stood in the command center, watching multiple displays. She had arrived at Facility 7 6 hours ago to coordinate the defense. Now the moment had come. All ships, this is Hayes. Weapons free. Show them what we can do. Ryan's Falcon shot out of the crater at incredible speed. His wingmen followed. 60 Falcons total, rising from hidden bases across Mars. The Council ships probably could not even see them yet. Good. Target lock, Ryan's computer announced. Fire, Ryan said calmly. The kinetic penetrators launched. 200 darts accelerated to 98% of light speed in less than a second. The Council ships never saw them coming. Their shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid metal moving at relativistic speeds. The first Council ship exploded. Just exploded. No warning. No time to react. One moment it was there. The next it was debris spreading across space. The second ship tried to turn, tried to activate emergency power. But 3 penetrators hit it within milliseconds. It broke apart. Atmosphere venting. Fires spreading across its hull. The third ship's captain managed to raise full shields and take evasive action. But Earth's fighters moved with impossible speed, appearing in multiple locations at once through quantum displacement. The Council ship fired back, plasma weapons cutting through space. They hit nothing. The Falcons were never where the targeting computers said they should be. Ryan lined up his second shot. Weapons free. More penetrators launched. The Council ship's shields collapsed under the assault. The final penetrator went straight through the ship's command center. The ship went dark, tumbling dead through space. Total time from first shot to complete destruction, 8 seconds. Ryan pulled his fighter up and away, adrenaline pumping. All targets destroyed. No friendly casualties. Copy that, Lisa's voice came through. Return to base. We're just getting started. On the Eternal Harmony, chaos replaced confusion. Displays showed the destruction of 3 Council ships in seconds. Zekthor stood frozen, unable to process what he had just witnessed. General Thokris roared in fury. What weapons were those? Myrix demanded. I detected no energy signatures before impact. Kinetic weapons, an analyst reported, voice shaking. Solid projectiles moving at near light speed. Our shields were not calibrated to stop them. Recalibrate immediately, Thokris ordered. All ships, full defensive posture. Find those human vessels and destroy them. A new communication request came through. Zekthor accepted it, and Admiral Dan Cooper's face appeared. The human looked old, but calm. Dangerous calm. Ambassador Zekthor, Dan said. That was your warning shot. You wanted to demonstrate force. So did we. Now, you know we're serious. You have 18 hours to leave our system. Don't make us repeat ourselves. You destroyed 3 Council ships, Zekthor said, his voice hollow. You have committed an act of war against the galactic community. The consequences will be severe. You fired first, Dan pointed out. You entered our home, threatened our people, and attacked our territory. We defended ourselves. That's not war. That's self-defense. But if you want war, we can do that too. He leaned forward. Admiral, I'm going to be straight with you. You came here thinking we were weak. You were wrong, very wrong. You can leave now with most of your fleet intact, or you can stay and find out exactly how wrong you were. Your choice. Zekthor wanted to respond with threats, with promises of revenge, with the full authority of the Council. But he had just watched 3 of his ships die in seconds. His certainty was shaken. The Council does not retreat, he said finally. Then the Council is about to learn a painful lesson, Dan replied. Your move, Ambassador. The transmission ended. Zekthor stood in his command chamber, surrounded by worried faces. For the first time in his long career, he felt fear. Real fear. Not of death, but of failure. of being the first ambassador in 10,000 years to lose to a primitive species. "What are your orders?" Thokris asked. Zekthor looked at the displays showing 44 remaining council ships. Then he looked at scans of Earth's solar system. His analysts were finding things now. Hidden installations, strange energy readings, ships appearing and disappearing on sensors. How much more did the humans have hidden? How badly had the council underestimated them? "Send reconnaissance drones," he ordered. "Full spectrum analysis of the entire system. Find every human military asset. And send a message to the council core worlds. Tell them we need reinforcements." "You're calling for help?" Merrick sounded shocked. "From primitives? I'm calling for enough ships to do this properly," Zekthor replied coldly. "The humans want to fight. We will give them a fight. But we will do it with overwhelming force. Not pride and assumptions." He looked at the countdown timer. 18 hours until the human deadline. The council had never retreated from a primitive species. Their entire authority, their entire system of control, depended on being seen as invincible. If they backed down from Earth, other species might start asking questions, might start resisting. No. The council could not retreat, could not show weakness. Even if it meant losses, even if these humans were more dangerous than expected, the council had to win, had to prove their superiority, because if they didn't, the entire galaxy might start to wonder if 10,000 years of council rule was really necessary. Zekthor made his decision. He would not retreat. He would not surrender. He would gather his fleet, learn the human secrets, and crush this rebellion with such force that no species would dare question the council again for another 10,000 years. But deep inside, in a place he would not admit existed, Zekthor wondered if perhaps this time was different. If perhaps humanity was not like the other species, and if perhaps the council had finally met an opponent that would not break. The countdown continued. 18 hours. Then the real battle would begin. 18 hours. General Thokris stood in the war room aboard the Eternal Harmony, studying tactical displays with growing frustration. His reconnaissance drones had found some of humanity's secrets, but he suspected they had missed more. Every time sensors identified a human installation, 3 more appeared elsewhere. "They're everywhere," his tactical officer reported. "Hidden bases on 8 different planetary bodies. Ships concealed inside asteroids. Weapon platforms disguised as mining equipment. Admiral, these humans have been preparing for this for decades." Thokris slammed his fist on the console. "How did we miss this? We've been watching Earth for 50 years. They hid it well," the officer admitted. "They did most construction underground or inside existing civilian structures. Their communications were encrypted in ways we couldn't detect as military. They looked primitive because they wanted to look primitive." Ambassador Zekthor entered the war room, looking exhausted. He had spent the past 12 hours arguing with the Council core worlds through long-range communications. "The Council has made its decision. We cannot retreat. To do so would show weakness. Other species might rebel if they see primitives defeating us." "Can they send reinforcements?" Thokris asked. "They're dispatching 60 more ships," Zekthor replied. "But they won't arrive for another 8 days. We must hold the line until then." 8 days, Thokris repeated. "We can do that. We recalibrate our shields for kinetic weapons, maintain defensive formation, and avoid human traps. We don't have to defeat them immediately. We just have to survive." But as he spoke, new reports came in. Human ships were moving. Not attacking, just positioning. Dozens of falcons spreading throughout the solar system, larger vessels emerging from hidden bays. The humans were preparing for something big. On Earth, in the command center beneath Geneva, Captain Lisa Hayes had not slept in 36 hours. She stood before a massive holographic display, showing every asset humanity had in the solar system. Blue dots for friendly forces, red dots for council ships. The red dots had pulled back into a tight defensive formation near Jupiter. Smart move. Harder to flank them now. Admiral Dan Cooper came to stand beside her, carrying 2 cups of coffee. He handed her one. You should rest. The fight won't start for a few more hours. Can't rest, Lisa replied, taking the coffee gratefully. There's too much to coordinate. Every ship needs to know its position, its backup plans, its targets. One mistake, and people die. People will die anyway, Dan said quietly. That's the nature of war. We didn't start this, but we're going to finish it. Lisa looked at him. Are we doing the right thing? Maybe we should have tried harder to negotiate. Found a compromise. Dan shook his head. There was no compromise available. The Council doesn't negotiate with species they consider inferior. They rule. They control. They've been doing it for 10,000 years. If we had surrendered, Earth would have become a puppet state. Our children would grow up under alien authority, told what to think, what to build, what to dream. That's not freedom. But is freedom worth the lives this will cost? That's the question humans have asked since the beginning, Dan replied. And we always come to the same answer. Yes. Freedom is worth fighting for. Worth dying for. Because without it, we're not really living. We're just existing. Lisa nodded slowly. She knew he was right. She had seen the Council's message. The arrogance in their demands. This was not about safety or protection. This was about control, and humanity had fought too hard, come too far, to bow to someone else's control now. How do you think we'll do? She asked. Dan smiled. I think the Council is about to learn why humans don't have predators anymore. We killed them all. Across the solar system, humanity prepared for war. On the moon, Major Laura Pierce checked the hidden artillery batteries one more time. Massive railguns built into craters, capable of firing rounds that could cross orbital distances in seconds. Beside her, technicians loaded ammunition and ran system checks. We get one surprise with these, Laura said to her crew. After the first shot, they'll know where we are. Make every shot count. In orbit around Earth, Lieutenant Kevin Brooks sat in his Falcon, running through pre-flight checks. Around him, 82 other fighters did the same. They would be the first wave, the fast strikers who would hit hard and disappear before the Council could respond. Nervous? His wingman asked over the radio. Terrified, Kevin admitted. But also excited. We trained for this, our whole careers. Now we get to show what humans can do. At Facility 7 on Mars, Commander Ryan Blake gathered his squadron for a final briefing. 60 pilots, all young, all volunteers, all ready to die if necessary. Ryan looked at their faces and felt the weight of command. You all know the plan, he said. We hit fast. We hit hard. We don't stick around to trade shots. The Council ships are bigger and tougher than us. We can't win a straight fight, but we're faster and smarter. We use that. We make them chase us, wear them down, create opportunities for our bigger ships. What if they don't break formation? Someone asked. Then we make them. Ryan replied. We keep hitting them until they get angry enough to chase us. Humans are good at being annoying. Let's use that. Nervous laughter spread through the group. Ryan smiled, trying to project confidence he didn't completely feel. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for every species in the galaxy who's tired of being told what to do. The Council has ruled for 10,000 years. Maybe it's time someone showed them they're not invincible. On the Eternal Harmony, Intelligence Officer Cyrix made a disturbing discovery. She had been analyzing human communications, trying to decrypt their military channels. She couldn't break the encryption. But she noticed something else. The patterns, the speed, the complexity. Ambassador, she reported to Zekthor, I believe the humans are using artificial intelligence to coordinate their forces. Zekthor looked alarmed. AI? The Council banned unrestricted artificial intelligence 6,000 years ago. It's too dangerous. The humans never received that ban, Cyrix pointed out. They developed their own computer technology independently. Their AIs appear to be sophisticated, possibly more advanced than our regulated systems. This was bad news. The Council's computers were powerful but limited by safety protocols developed over millennia. If humanity had unrestricted AI, it could mean faster response times, better tactical decisions, unpredictable strategies. Another advantage the primitives should not have had. Zeke Thor felt his certainty crumbling. Everything about this species was wrong. They should have been easy to defeat. But nothing about humanity fit the pattern. They were aggressive, but disciplined, divided into many nations but coordinating perfectly, technologically inferior in some ways but superior in others. It was like they had evolved specifically to fight the Council. "How much time until their deadline?" he asked. 2 hours, an aide replied. 2 hours. Then the battle would begin. Zekthor looked at his fleet, 44 ships, holding defensive formation. He had sent a detailed report to the Council core worlds, warning them that humanity was more dangerous than expected. The response had been clear: win or die trying. The Council's reputation depended on victory, but Zekthor wondered if reputation was worth the cost. He had served the Council for 60 years. He believed in their mission, their peace, their order. But maybe that peace had made them soft. Maybe 10,000 years without a real challenge had made them forget what war truly meant. The humans knew. He could see it in their tactics, their weapons, their attitude. This was a species that had fought countless wars against itself. They understood violence in ways the Council had forgotten, and now they were bringing that knowledge to bear against an enemy who had grown comfortable in their superiority. In the Geneva Command Center, the countdown reached 1 hour. Lisa stood before the holographic display, watching both fleets prepare. Around her, dozens of officers coordinated thousands of moving parts. Ships, weapons, supply lines, backup plans. It was the most complex military operation humanity had ever attempted. Dan Cooper gave the final orders. All ships, battle stations, all personnel, secure positions. This is not a drill. In 60 minutes, we show the galaxy what humanity is made of. Lisa activated her command channel. All commanders. This is Hayes. Remember the plan. Hit and fade. Don't engage in sustained combat. We win by movement and surprise, not by standing still and trading shots. Good luck to everyone. Let's make this count. Across the solar system, acknowledgements came back. Every ship, every fighter, every weapon platform, all ready, all waiting. Lisa thought about her family back on Earth. Her parents, her sister, her nephew who was just 5 years old. She was fighting for them, for their right to grow up free, to make their own choices, to live without fear of alien oversight. She thought about all of humanity, 8 billion people who didn't ask for this fight but would stand together now that it had come. Every nation, every culture, every language, united for the first time in history, against a common threat. 10 minutes, an officer announced. Lisa took a deep breath. In 10 minutes, either humanity would prove itself worthy of freedom, or they would learn the price of defying galactic authority. There was no middle ground, no room for doubt. Just the hard truth of survival. She looked at Dan. Any last words of wisdom, Admiral? Dan smiled, that dangerous smile she was learning to recognize. Yeah. Remember that we're humans. We're the species that looked at the food chain and decided we belonged at the top. We're the species that conquered a planet full of things trying to kill us. We're the species that split the atom and touched the moon and built civilizations from nothing. The Council thinks they're superior because they're old. But we're humanity. We don't win because we're superior. We win because we refuse to lose. The countdown reached 0. All ships, Lisa said calmly, execute Attack Plan Alpha. Show them what we can do. And humanity went to war. The battle began with silence. No dramatic speeches, no last warnings. Just humanity moving with deadly purpose. Lieutenant Kevin Brooks led the first wave. 83 Falcons appeared through quantum displacement, surrounding the Council fleet in a sphere formation. Before the Council could react, the fighters launched their kinetic penetrators, 3,000 darts moving at near light speed. all arriving at the same instant. The Council ships had recalibrated their shields, but not fast enough, not completely. 2 ships exploded immediately. 4 more took critical damage, hulls breached, systems failing. The rest absorbed the attack but lost shield strength significantly. "Scatter," Kevin ordered. The Falcons vanished through quantum displacement before the Council ships could return fire. Plasma bolts cut through empty space, hitting nothing. General Thokris roared in frustration aboard the Eternal Harmony. "They're using hit-and-run tactics. Don't let them disengage. Pursuit ships, follow them." 6 Council ships broke formation to chase the fighters. Exactly what humanity wanted. Commander Ryan Blake waited with his squadron near Mars. The moment the 6 Council ships left the main formation, he attacked. His Falcons appeared behind the pursuing ships, launching penetrators at their engines. 3 ships lost propulsion. Another 2 took critical damage. The 6th tried to return to the main fleet, but was intercepted by more human fighters appearing from nowhere. "This is how it's going to go," Ryan muttered. "They think in terms of big fleet battles. We think in terms of guerrilla warfare." On Earth's moon, Major Laura Pierce watched her targeting computer. The Council fleet was distracted by fighters. Perfect. All batteries. Open fire. 20 massive railguns fired simultaneously. Rounds the size of buses accelerated to incredible speeds, crossing the distance to Jupiter's orbit in under a minute. The Council fleet detected them too late. 4 more ships took direct hits. 1 broke in half, another lost all power, and began drifting. "Reload," Laura ordered. "Fire when ready." Aboard the Eternal Harmony, Ambassador Zek Thor watched his fleet falling apart. They had lost 12 ships in the first 15 minutes. The humans were everywhere and nowhere. His sensors would detect them, his weapons would fire, but the humans were already gone, moving through space in ways that should not be possible. "We need to retreat," Intelligence Officer Sirik said urgently. "Regroup. Call for reinforcements." "We can't retreat," Thokris snarled. "The Council doesn't run from primitives. These aren't primitives." Sirik shot back. "Look at them. They're tearing us apart." A new wave of human ships appeared. Not fighters this time. Larger vessels. Cruiser-sized. Emerging from hiding spots throughout the solar system, they moved in coordinated patterns, like a school of fish avoiding a predator. The Council fired everything they had. Some human ships took damage, 2 were destroyed. But the rest kept coming. Captain Lisa Hayes watched the battle from Geneva, coordinating movements across millions of kilometers. Every ship fed data into the central AI system. Every attack created opportunities. Every Council response was predicted and countered. "They're starting to panic," Admiral Dan Cooper observed, watching the Council fleet's increasingly desperate maneuvers. "Look at their formations breaking down." "They're not used to losing," Lisa nodded. "Push harder. All units. Increase pressure. Don't give them time to think." More human forces revealed themselves. Weapon platforms hidden in asteroids. Ships that had looked like mining equipment, but were actually armed combat vessels. Amy Chen's satellite network around Earth coordinated everything, creating a battlefield awareness that the Council couldn't match. The Council ships tried to maintain formation, but it was impossible. Attacks came from every direction. Kinetic weapons appeared, without warning. Human ships displaced through space faster than targeting computers could track. Every time the Council focused on one threat, 3 more appeared elsewhere. An hour into the battle, the Council had lost 23 ships. 18 more were heavily damaged. Only 6 remained combat effective. The Eternal Harmony was scarred and bleeding atmosphere from a dozen breaches. General Thokris finally spoke the words Zekthor never thought he would hear. "Request ceasefire. We can't win this." Zekthor felt something break inside him. 10,000 years of Council authority, ending here against a species they had dismissed as primitive. But Syrinx was right. These weren't primitives. These were warriors who had evolved in constant competition, who understood warfare in ways the Council had forgotten. "Open a channel," Zekthor said quietly. "To the human command." The holographic display showed Admiral Dan Cooper and Captain Lisa Hayes, Both looked tired but alert, ready to keep fighting if necessary. "Admiral Cooper," Zekthor said. "The Galactic Council requests a ceasefire to discuss terms." Dan looked at Lisa, then back at the Council ambassador. "You came to our home and demanded surrender. Now you want to discuss terms. We underestimated you," Zekthor admitted. The words tasted like poison. "Your species is unlike any we have encountered. We were wrong." "Yes, you were," Lisa said coldly. "You thought you could bully us. You thought we'd be afraid. You were wrong about a lot of things." Thokris appeared on screen, his pride visibly wounded. "You fight well for primitives. But killing us all serves no purpose. We request honorable cessation of hostilities." "Honorable," Ryan Blake's voice cut in from his fighter. "You attacked us and now you want honor? Stand down." "Commander," Dan ordered. He looked at Zekthor. "Here are our terms. You leave our solar system immediately. All Council ships. All Council personnel. You don't come back unless invited. Earth remains independent. We govern ourselves. No oversight, no committees, no Council authority over humanity, ever." Zekthor wanted to argue, to negotiate, to save some piece of Council authority. But he had no leverage. His fleet was broken. More human ships were appearing every minute. If the battle continued, the Council would lose everything. "And in return?" he asked. Dan paused. "In return, humanity offers something the Council might find valuable. We'll share some of our technology. The quantum displacement drive. Our AI systems. Our kinetic weapons technology. And we'll help you with something else." "What?" Zekthor asked suspiciously. "Defense," Lisa said. She brought up star charts showing regions beyond Council space. "Your scouts have detected threats in the outer dark. Haven't they? Species you can't identify. Ships using technology you don't understand. Things that make you nervous." Zekthor felt his blood run cold. She was right. For the past decade, Council scouts had reported strange contacts at the galaxy's edge. Ships that didn't respond to communications. Probes that vanished without explanation. The Council had kept it quiet, not wanting to admit they faced something unknown. "How do you know about that?" he demanded. "We listen," Dan replied. "We pay attention. And we recognize the signs because we've spent our entire history preparing for threats. The galaxy has been at peace for 10,000 years under Council rule. That's good. But it made you soft. Made you forget how to fight, how to adapt, how to survive when something truly dangerous appears. You're offering to help us," Zekthor said slowly. "After we attacked you. We're offering to help the galaxy," Lisa corrected. "Because we're part of it now. Like it or not, humanity is here to stay. We won't submit to Council authority. But we're not isolationists either. There are threats coming that will require everyone to work together. Species who know how to fight, and species who remember how to build. The Council has been the dominant power for so long you forgot why you needed power in the first place. To protect people, to keep them safe. We can help you remember." Commander Jack Miller, still aboard Sentinel-7, watched the conversation from his station. He had started this whole situation by receiving the first Council transmission. Now he was watching it end. Humanity had done the impossible. They had defeated a galactic empire and offered peace in the same breath. Only humans would be that crazy. Zekthor looked at his damaged fleet, his dead crews, his shattered certainty. Then he looked at the human commanders on screen. They had beaten him completely. But they weren't gloating. They weren't demanding tribute or submission. They were offering partnership, strength shared, instead of strength imposed. Maybe, he thought, maybe humanity was exactly what the galaxy needed. "I will take your terms to the Council core worlds," Zekthor said formally. "But I believe they will accept. You have proven your right to independence. And your offer of technological sharing is generous given the circumstances." "Not generous," Dan replied. "Practical. The galaxy is bigger than any one species. Humanity learned that the hard way. Now we're teaching you." The ceasefire held. Over the next 2 days, The Council fleet limped out of Earth's solar system, carrying their wounded and their dead. Zekthor sent long reports to the Council core worlds, explaining everything, the mistake they had made, the power humanity wielded, the future that might be possible if the Council adapted. On Earth, celebrations filled the streets. Humanity had faced the ultimate test and survived. They had proven themselves worthy of freedom, but in the command centers, leaders like Lisa and Dan knew the real work was just beginning. "They'll be back," Lisa said, watching the last Council ship disappear from sensors. "Maybe not to fight, but to study us, to learn from us. We just changed the balance of power in the galaxy." "Good," Dan replied. "Balance is healthy. The Council had a monopoly on authority for too long. Now they have to compete. Have to adapt. Just like we always have." Across the solar system, humanity began assessing the damage. They had lost 19 ships and nearly 3,000 personnel. Not as bad as it could have been. But every loss hurt. Memorial services were planned, heroes were honored. The price of freedom was counted in the currency humanity understood best: sacrifice. Commander Ryan Blake landed his fighter at Facility 7 and climbed out exhausted. His crew chief met him with a tired smile. "We did it, sir. We actually did it." "Yeah," Ryan agreed. "We did. Now comes the hard part. What's harder than fighting the Galactic Council?" Ryan looked up at the Martian sky, thinking about the galaxy beyond. "Living with the consequences. We just announced ourselves to thousands of species. Some will want to be friends. Some will see us as threats. Some will try to test us like the Council did. We opened a door we can never close. But we opened it on our terms," the crew chief pointed out. "Free. Independent. Strong. That counts for something." "It counts for everything," Ryan said. 6 months later, the first formal diplomatic exchange happened between Earth and the Council core worlds. Not a surrender or a treaty of submission. A partnership agreement, technology sharing, mutual defense pacts, cultural exchange programs. Humanity joined the galactic community as equals, not subjects. Some species welcomed them. Others remained suspicious. But everyone knew one thing for certain: humanity could not be ignored, could not be controlled, could not be dismissed as primitives. The age of Earth's isolation ended not with conquest but with defiance. Humanity had looked at the most powerful empire in the galaxy and laughed. Then they had proven why that confidence was earned. And across the galaxy, other species began to wonder. If humans could stand up to the Council, what else was possible? What other rules could be questioned? What other assumptions could be challenged? The Council had wanted to bring order to the chaos of an emerging species. Instead, humanity brought something the galaxy had forgotten: the reminder that strength is earned, not inherited. That freedom matters more than security. That sometimes, the young and wild and aggressive species has lessons to teach the old and established powers. Earth stood alone no longer. But Earth stood on its own terms. And that made all the difference.